Pain and misery. Those two words I thought I knew perfectly. That was until Team Cherry released Silksong, a game that took 7 years to develop, even though it still has just thousands of bugs that make it very difficult to play. You see, they trick you. You get this cute character, pretty easy combat mechanics, beautiful map to explore. What they don't show you is this. Did you hear that? It was the scream of 100,000 viewers screaming with Hunter March's PTSD. And that's not even the worst. The flying enemies, and then the majority of the enemies dealing 2 hearts of damage. I swear, the bosses get enjoyment out of you raging and breaking your controller. And to 100% Silksong, you have to find like 60 tools, acquire all mask shards, beat the game in 5 hours or less, which isn't even as bad as 100% completing the game in less than 30 hours. In my 22 years of gaming, I've never 100%ed a game this difficult before. This thing, this entity called Hollow Knight Silksong, it turned me from a man into I don't know, a manlier man. And this is my tale of 100%ing Hollow Knight Silksong. Our journey starts with us appearing through the fog, the bells ringing while I am seemingly trapped in a cage. The guards walk me through the various locations of Farloom. That's what the world of Hollow Knight is called, or at least Silksong. Suddenly, a glowing butterfly lands on my cage, and the cage lights up, and it appears that I gain sentience again, and I'm able to use the power of my silk to wrap around the stone bridge, crash my carriage, and wake up surrounded by debris. Act 1. I immediately wake up in a location called Moss Grotto, and without any directions, I started up just like my subscriber count after you hit subscribe. If 5,000 people hit subscribe off of this video, I don't know, I'll 100% the first Hollow Knight, which I've never played before. Starting off, I was using a mouse and keyboard for controls, but there was a weird delay, so I switched to a PlayStation controller. That's why I kept dying. Trust me. I stumbled upon my first arena, and immediately I run into the first boss, Moss Mother. He holds true to the name being my finest hear me out. After beating Moss Mommy, I pass out on the ground. But shortly after my little nap, I am awoken by a strange looking bug whose posture is worse than my editors after editing this video. She explains to me how the guards in armor who had captured me back, like in the beginning intro video, were Knights of the Citadel. I now know my first main objective: ascend through the lands of Farloom to reach the Citadel at the Kingdom's Peak. She also informs me how this land is cursed. Does this have something to do with a citadel as well? Continuing throughout this mossy land, I find myself in a dark, gloomy location: the Marrow. Immediately after opening this large door, I run into a little guy named Sherma, a fan favorite amongst many, but not as big of a fan favorite than me. I am her biggest fan. Listen to her song, she got bangers, dude. As I made my way towards the lava area, I found myself against the hardest enemy of the game. I was stunned with fear, just looking at the absolute strength, the complexity, and the pull. Oh, I snapped out of it and just jumped. I don't know why I was frozen there for so long, but yeah. Anyways, making my way upwards, I come across my first tool: the Shard Pendant, giving me my first achievement out of so many more. Going upwards and to the left, I run into a location called the Moss Home. I didn't see the home appeal though. All I got was spat on by this bug, and not in the way that I enjoyed. After dying, I decided to continue looking throughout the Marrow for any upgrades at all. Making my way back to the beginning area, I found a weird looking shrine. It wasn't of Moss' older feminine figure, so I really wasn't that interested, but nonetheless, I interacted with it and got my first silk skill, the Silk Spear, which is a spear, lo and behold to the name, made out of silk, which gave me yet another achievement. Wow, I'm really blasting through these achievements. Maybe it won't take me that long to unlock all the achievements. Oh. After resting on a bench, the various checkpoints around the game, I then found a moss druid hiding in a cave and accepted my first wish, the berry picker wish. According to this druid, she needs 3 glowberries that are around the map. While I've only discovered 1 by now, I decided that I'll complete that later. I then met a tall bug named Chakra. She sells me maps and other relating items, like markers for the map to pinpoint a certain location, bench markers to highlight the benches that I have been to, and fast travel markers to highlight the locations I can fast travel from. After seeing what she offers, I promptly bought a map of the Moss lands. Lo and behold, without the compass, another item that she sold, it was practically useless because I didn't know where I was. You see, the compass is an item that you can equip onto yourself so that you can see your location on the map. Without it, you're just looking at an empty map, and God knows my sense of direction is no better than Zoro's. After going up from the Marrow and taking a right instead of the left that led into the Moss home, this led me into a bell landscape. I say this because it's a landscape full of bells. In this bellish landscape, there's a big bony dog looking monster that is trapped in silk. I decided to shoot my silk spear at it to free it, unknowingly freeing my next boss, the Bell Beast. I actually beat this boss first try. It wasn't even close. Beating this boss gave me my third achievement, but without me even knowing, this boss would become the most important figure of the game. You see, I'm lazy, and I don't want to walk around everywhere I need to go. Well, thankfully, this boss unlocks fast travel to places I have been before, and even plays a part in a future achievement. After this boss, I proceed to quite literally get tired and fall asleep on the ground, waking up in this weird spiderweb area. I make my way up and find a floating orb that was talking to me. I swear, I'm not going crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. They locked me in a rubber room, a room full of bells. The bells made me crazy. They looked like a landscape. After the floating orb was done talking, finally, I ate it out of rebellion. I then consumed a silk heart. The silk heart gives me the power to regenerate silk, the bar in the left corner that lets me heal within one shell. After waking up from my much needed power nap, I head right, continuing into the marrow. I find a cute little flea that's stuck in a wall, not related to me in any sense. These little guys become my favorite part of the game because of how absurdly adorable they are. So obviously, I free the little guy, and then I stumbled across what seems to be a big red beetle. Died and immediately quit the game for a week. Just kidding. Just like my ex, I did give up on him so I could get even stronger before heading back and fighting him. I continued exploring into a new location called the Deep Docks, also known as my ex. On the Deep Docks, I find myself at a place called the Flea Caravan, and oh my god, they're everywhere. Just look at them. They are adorable. The Flea Master, erotic noise. Wait, why did I write that? And he tells me how there are 30 fleas scattered across the map and how I need to find them. Wait, what? Wait, why me? 30? They aren't so adorable anymore. After seemingly running out of things to do in the Deep Docks, I make my way back to the Bell Beast to fast travel to a town called the Bone Bottom. Okay? This area contains a wishing board where I promptly accept all of the wishes without even reading them. Are you guys even surprised? What can I say? I'm a generous guy. Let me explain wishes though. They are essentially just little mini quests that I can accept from these wish boards or random NPCs around the maps. These wishes are usually pretty useless, but sometimes can provide some really good items. Either way, I still had to do them to 100% this game. I then head back down and fight in something called a gauntlet, which is basically just waves of enemies in criminally small areas. These actually become the bane of my existence later on in the video. After finally beating the enemies, I continue down and find another shrine where I acquire Swift Step, which is basically a normal step, but I do it swiftly. I then head back to the Red Beetle, and after being pounded so hard where it's hard for me to walk in the morning and countless attempts that I totally didn't enjoy, I finally beat him. Oh boy, was that a mistake. Beating this mini boss, it wasn't so many in certain places, might I add, not even an actual boss, I make my way to, even after beating the game, my least favorite area by far. The Hunter's March. You see these little red balls? It's not crabs, I swear. I have to jump on top of them and then hit into them. You know, you have to like line yourself up perfectly. Doesn't sound difficult, right? Oh boy, you couldn't be any more wrong. For some reason, I kept side attacking down, missing it completely. Even better, there's so many of these. And if you miss, you fall into some spikes and take damage. That combined with the countless enemies that mostly deal 2 hearts of damage, and the fact that there's no save points. Yeah, I'm gonna be stuck here for a while. Going through Hunter's March is basically what the veterans went through in Numb, but obviously I have it worse. I'm playing a difficult video game. Going through this area had me genuinely considering giving up on this video, going outside, and 100%ing Hello Kitty Island Adventure instead. 20,000 likes and I'll 100% it. But I am a Dubai Chocolate Labubu performative matcha drinking male, so after 2 grueling hours, I made my way through the 2 different areas of Hunter's March, having to reset countless times from dying to things that totally weren't my fault. They were in fact cheating. My controller broke into pieces because it got DDoSed, I swear. I make my way down to the end of Hunter's March, and finally, I can't say this enough, finally, a checkpoint. After contemplating my life choices at that bench for way too long, I had left back into the deep docks where I discovered a shopkeeper the size of my ego. The Forged Daughter. She sells seashells down by the seashore. Sorry, I just wanted to see if I could say that quickly. Anyways, she doesn't sell seashells down by the seashore, but she does sell various items and weapon attachments that will make my life so much easier when I'm not broke. I forgot to mention, when you die in this game, you come ever so closer to dying in real life, you restart from the last checkpoint, and you also lose all of your money. I was broke. Unfortunately, I had to stay weak and continue to live my life in shame without any cool tools. Making my way up from Forged Daughter, I come across a lever that I just had to hit. Making my way downtown, walking past, faces pass, and I'm homebound. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Please don't click off. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I then come across my next boss, Lace, and oh my god, she's bad. I did have to quickly beat this boss, not only because she's just not her, but also because I got an achievement for beating her and would be able to progress. After beating her, I came across a new area called Far Fields. This place didn't actually seem that far away, nor did it have any fields. It seemed actually somewhat peaceful. There was even those little soots from Spirited Away here. I think I can get used to it here. Oh, never mind. I made my way up to a tent that contained a very important quest. But first, I had to grind these spiky ball sacks monsters for their spikes. I then turned those spikes in for the ability to glide. And oh my goodness, this genuinely made my life so much easier. Not too much easier though. On my way back, I got seriously jump scared. So hard that I squeezed so hard a little came out. By the next boss, the 4th chorus, while this boss was so difficult that I understand what Guts went through, the boss music was insane. I need them to play this at my funeral, which with this boss fight will be very soon. Defeating this boss not only gave me back some of the dignity I had very little of, but another achievement. I then make my way upwards into a dark and gloomy area, Greymoor. It's a bit more gray than everywhere else. Heading left, I come across a little cave that I have to fight a few monsters in, and shortly after leaving this cave, I find a little inn with an innkeeper. An odd-looking pink guy hidden in what seems to be an attic that wishes to give me a wish that I promptly take. For some reason, this little guy is making me feel things I've never felt before. I rest at the checkpoint and then head to the right to explore the other area of Greymoor. I make my way to another gauntlet, which I obviously beat first try. These birds were driving me crazy with their way too loud cawing. Beating the gauntlet made some of these little bouncy balls come out, and I played with what felt like that one Pogo simulator game all over again. Continuing through Greymoor, which is the same amount of gray as before, I find myself at something called a Reaper Citadel. I traverse through it and find another gauntlet. This time, with the arena space being absurdly small, and the monsters were agile, but none of this was in vain because in the end, I got a Reaper Crest, which let me collect even more silk from hits after I heal. Speaking of crests, let me explain that system really quick since I need to collect all of them for an achievement. There are 7 different crests. Each crest affects your attack speed, damage, crit rate, and how you attack in general. Each crest also has a different number of slots for each item that you can equip. So for some crest, I can attach more weapons, whereas others, I can attach more buffs. Getting the Reaper Crest did give me another achievement, which is edging me even closer to the end. I then talked to this one guy who claimed to be a knight named Garmund. Going downwards after receiving the crest, I come across my next boss. Morwing, a moth bird that has more of a wing than other bosses. This boss genuinely had the color of my dookie after I was done eating 3-week-old Chinese. I definitely wasn't struggling on this seemingly easy boss, and definitely did not need help from this Garmund who appeared out of nowhere, but nonetheless, he's still unneedingly, that is a real word by the way, don't fact check me, just trust me please. Help me beat this boss and continue on throughout the game. I definitely did not need his help, might I remind you. Continuing left from where I fought this absolutely abhorrent looking boss, I thought it was your mother for a second. I came across another land of bells, a bell landscape, a bell, I'm not doing this bit again. My next location, Bell Heart, it's like a heart in the shape of a bell. The town seemed to just be hanging around. What's up guys? Turns out this place is haunted. Ooh, scary. Ooh. And I need to free this town. Again, too much work, so I'll do it later. Anyways, I proceed to go left after seeing what this town had to offer. Absolutely nothing. Into my next area, Shellwood. There was a lot of wood and a lot of shells, which was another pretty area. I did not appreciate these stupid spear guys though. For some reason, their aim was comparable to alpha version Minecraft skeletons or an average Call of Duty controller aim assist. They did not miss. I went upwards and picked up an item called a dead bug purse, which let me keep half my rosaries, which is my currency that I had to use for absolutely everything, even checkpoints. So with the dead bug purse, when I die, I wouldn't lose all of them, only half. And since this bug was dead, I assumed he wouldn't need that anymore. Continuing throughout Shellwood, there was these weird looking tentacle things that kept trying to reach out and touch me. God, I didn't want to move. It also reminds me of this Japanese video I used to, after beating that bug, I continued throughout Shellwood, which seemingly connected to Moss Grotto, and so I went back to Bone Bottom, and turned in the wishes I have done while playing, and even accepted some more. See, I told you, I'm a generous guy, and would finish them. Heading back to Shellwood, I bounced around these small platforms that just had these exploding bugs combined with the tentacle bugs. I felt like I was getting the old 1-2, but my absolute skill of traversing led me to my next boss, Sister Splinter, which honestly felt like one of the easiest bosses I've faced so far. Even though it took me 3 tries, it was those input delays. After beating this basic white girl, yes, Queen Slay boss, and having these thorns shoved so far up a place that I cannot say without being demonetized, I beat the boss and continued throughout Shellwood. These tentacle bugs and exploding bugs were getting on my nerves with how often I kept fighting them. I did not enjoy the tentacles touching me, I swear, regardless of whatever you comment right now. I am not dying on purpose so I can continue fighting those bugs. I eventually find my way to another shrine that looked similar to the one in the beginning, interacted with it, and got the Cling Grip skill, a skill that lets me cling onto walls and grip hard enough to jump off them. Continuing on, I jump through some platforms and find myself at a new location. Wow, there's a lot of steps. This will be a blast! Oh, it's called Blasted Steps. Apparently, something I did, it freed the curse of Bellheart. I have absolutely no clue what did it, but I'll take it. My generosity knows no bounds, and this town is starting to look lively again. It even had a wish board that I collected all the wishes for without reading again. I talked to the NPCs, there was a shop that once again I was too poor for. And climbing up the platforms, there was a home with an NPC in it that sharpened my needle weapon, giving me a small boost of damage. But I didn't feel much of an increase, at least there was a cool cutscene though. I tried continuing through blasted steps, but to no avail. To avoid punching a hole through my monitor, I went back to Shellwood to fight another boss. Widow. I absolutely decimated this tall, lanky white boy. The movesets and animations he had were really cool. I felt like I was actually starting to learn how to play this game. After beating him, I picked up a new skill called Needlein, which turns my needle into a wicked guitar. Dude, I am shredding. I also passed out again and woke up in the spiderweb silk looking place. There was no talking sentient orb though, only a door that I had to play my needle in to open. After doing that, I woke up again. Maybe I should get this passing out issue checked out, brother. I then went through and started the grind to look for all of the mask shards I could get so far. You see, mask shards are shards of the mask I have in the upper left corner. Essentially, it's just my health. 4 shards equal 1 extra heart, which is kind of useless at this point of the game since all the bugs I am fighting do 2 hearts of damage. That 5 hearts going to 6 is, it's providing to like no protection for me. Getting another heart did give me another achievement though. I also got another spool fragment, which increases the amount of silk I can hold at once. Increasing this also got me another achievement. I also went and turned in the berry picker quest from the beginning. The druid gave me an item as a reward that was, completely useless, but at least I have a new item that will go through the collecting all the items achievement. After getting these upgrades, I felt like I was ready to take on my next boss, the last judge. The problem is that I would have to go through blasted steps to get to it. After many hours of just repeatedly dying to the terrain, I make it to the boss. Oh, and I died to it. Oh, I have to go all the way through again. Thankfully, dying to the boss repeatedly let me get used to the path I would have to go on each time, so after hours, I finally beat this nightmare fuel boss and finally beat what seems to be the last boss. Wait, what's this? Act 2? Make my way into the next location, the Coral Chambers, with enemies that look somewhat familiar to the ones I saw in the beginning. Am I getting closer to the Citadel? After a few minutes of just wandering around, I run into a familiar face, Lace. Yes! Oh my god, yes, yes, yes! Yes! After not overreacting and running into her, I make my way upwards to this little Simon Says minigame that didn't stand a chance against me. You see, I'm essentially a genius with photographic memory, and I'm just cunning and smart and just so skillful and also humble. That's one of my greatest traits. God, I'm amazing. Doing it gave me a cog heart piece, which will become useful later on. I then find a giant bell, so obviously I have to ring it, and thank God I did, because doing that caused a bench to appear so I could rest. It did seemingly wake up someone called the Caretaker, who is so annoying. He just stands there making this noise like, please, shut up. I also find a white key on the ground, which is another thing that will prove to be useful later. I also find some sort of elevator looking thing that I had to use money to buy, which is how this entire part of the location uses fast travel to get around. Thank God I don't have to walk everywhere. I was getting worried that this game will make me do something even more tedious than unlocking all achievements. After making my way left, I stumble across my first boss of the new area. Or should I say bosses, the Cogwork Dancers. This boss was absurdly easy since you knew what they were going to do, but I really didn't want to fight them since I'm an ally. But after doing enough damage, one of the dancers fall. The other still continues to move, getting slower without its partner by its side. For some reason, something about this fight was genuinely saddening. I killed her partner, man! To claim victory, I beat the other dancer and continued onward. Then these statues with an elevator came down and told me that I had to collect the melody of the architect, Vault Keeper, and the conductor to use this elevator and beat the final boss of the game. After they were finally done yapping, 2 platforms below opened and let me into this gear-ridden space that I had to carefully traverse through. It was a pain, but I made it through and fought another difficult gauntlet. I swear these gauntlets were getting harder than the boss fights. Beating all the enemies led me into my next area, Whispering Vaults. I guess because in these vaults, there was a lot of whispering. I wonder, what about though? Maybe they were telling you to subscribe. I come across another Simon Says game and definitely do not struggle. Like I said before, I'm a genius. Anyways, I beat it and got another cogwork piece. I also discovered my next boss, this flamboyant dancer, Trobbio. His moves were pretty and bright, but also so unbelievably overstimulating and distracting. After countless attempts of this very theatrical boss, I finally beat him. Also, I'm pretty sure he said Hak Tua there. I picked up the item he dropped, which seemed pretty useless, but it still counted towards my achievements, so whatever. I then continued to the right, where I made it to a location called a White Ward. A ward that was very white. What wasn't very white was this lava area that I had to go through to get to the next familiar looking shrine. I interacted with it and got a skill that made movement a lot easier. The claw line. It's basically a line with a claw at the end of it. It lets me grapple to thin air, which is basically defying the laws of gravity, but I'll take it because I'm not Isaac Newton. I then fought a small gauntlet of enemies and discovered the 12th Architect, who sells some very useful items, which, surprise, surprise, I can't afford. I then moved on back to Whispering Vaults to explore a bit more and discovered a worm who wouldn't stop yapping. Vault Keeper Cardenas. Hornet quite literally tells him to stop talking. He asks for these cylinders that I have seemed to pick up throughout my journey to him, which in all honesty, I do not remember collecting. After giving him the cylinders, I learned the Vault Keeper's melody. I also find another mask shard that increases my max health to 7 hits instead of 6. 6-7, which is actually a really good upgrade right now, but not good enough for what's coming. Continuing throughout Coral Chambers, I find myself in a secret room, which I then discover one of the biggest upgrades of the game so far, the Cogflies. I send out these Cogflies to fight for me and do a bit of extra damage. With my confidence at an all-time high, I come across the next gauntlet. And oh my god, oh my, Jesus almighty, this is impossible. Even after beating the game, for some reason, this gauntlet right here is the hardest fight in the entire game, beating out every boss. Even Hunter's March was easier than this. I was going through something I have never felt before, an unprecedented need for upgrades. For the first time in the entirety of Act 2, I head back to one of the old locations, Greymoor, but I am immediately captured, quite literally stripped of my clothes, and sent to the slab. I make my way through this dark and desolate area, doing very minimum damage, find these group of bugs literally playing with my clothes? These freaks! I then jump them for what is mine. Do not mess with me or my clothes. After decimating these guys for my stuff back, I then head down and get a fast travel location, but before I left, I found a new area, Mount Fae. You see, there is something extremely useful up on top of this mountain, but I have to go through a seemingly endless path in which I was genuinely getting too cold and kept nearly dying. I decided that I would come back and get this when I finally got those upgrades I have been talking about. I make my way back to the inn and give New the wish back. All I had to do was defeat 100 enemies, so simply playing the game let me complete this wish. Doing that gave me a tool pouch, which was just a small upgrade to how many shards I could hold, which I get from killing enemies. I then decide to head back to the beginning in Bone Bottom, and head up and to the left to an area called Worm Ways, which surprisingly had a lot of worms platforms in my way. Going through it led me to the Chapel of the Wanderer. I fought a very easy gauntlet. Something tells me I was supposed to be here way earlier in my progression than when I actually am. After beating the gauntlet, I received my next crest, the Wanderer crest, which became the new main crest due to the fact that I attack so much faster. I believe that my damage output is a bit lower, but with the speed, I'm completely fine with that. I then head back to the Hunter's March area, willingly this time, and discover a new minigame where I throw darts at the target, and if I miss 3 times, I lose. With my impeccable aim, I should have no trouble with this. Never mind, I'll do this at a later date and totally not forget about it. Okay, it's time to lock in. I head back to Mount Fae, and after hours upon hours, countless deaths, and a new monitor, I make it to the top and play my song. I guess you could say my Silksong. Please don't click off, I'm sorry. And then a giant bird appeared. Or is it a normal sized bird and I'm just small since I'm a bug? I've been thinking about this for a while now, actually. Anyways, it gave me the skill Fade Down Cloak, which meant after tens of hours, I can finally double jump. Clip number 25. Next thing I do is a little research on what I'm missing for upgrades and discover that I never finished fully exploring the slab. But for me to continue exploring it, I need a key that's located at my next area. Bilewater. This disgusting wasteland full of enemies that I couldn't even tell you were supposed to be was just a road to an even more vile area. The putrefied ducks. No, not those kind of ducks. This place was so absolutely nasty, for a split second, it was almost worse than a Discord mod living in his mother's basement. Thankfully, this trip was short with me immediately finding the key of Apostle, the key I needed for the slab. I swiftly make my way back to the slab, open the doors I need, and find myself at a secret boss, Fast Sinner. You see, he's like a regular sinner, except he's faster. This boss seemed like it was a living reincarnation of all the shrines I've interacted with, but like I said, I don't care. It wasn't a shrine of the glorious, voluptuous, beautiful Moss Mother. So I decimated this fraud and then proceeded to pass out yet again, and wake up in the familiar Silk Land. You know the deal with this place now. I make my way up yet again. No talking orb though. I do get my next Silk skill, Rune Rage. This one kind of sucked. It was basically just the move the Fast Sinner used on me. I head back to White Ward to fight a gauntlet I missed before to promptly pass out and wake up again in the Silk Nightmare Land. But this time, I'm greeted with a familiar voice. The floating orb is back, baby! Instead of listening to whatever useless thing it has to say to me, I consume it and upgrade my silk. After that, I decided I have upgraded enough. I am ready to take on that disgusting, god-awful gauntlet again, and surprisingly this time, I'm able to win somewhat quickly. As much as I wanted to just sit there and breathe after everything that just happened to me, I needed to continue to progress. So I head left and come across Conductor Ballador, who teaches me the conductor melody, and his name does in fact hold true as he conducts some absolute ball. Just one more melody to go. I make my way back up the high halls and even find a spool fragment upgrade that I was missing before. This one giving me my next upgrade to increase the amount of silk I can hold at once. I then head back down to the gear-ridden Pogo Simulator land again to come across the puzzle to learn the Architect melody. In which I definitely did not look up a guide for this because I'm a genius. I complete the puzzle and the Architect melody plays, but nothing I say could convey how beautiful this song is, so I'll just play it. After everything that I've been dealing with this game, like, this is genuine, like, this is beautiful. I don't know, like, I kind of wish that we could listen to this song longer, but, like, I'm enjoying this. I would love a boss fight with this. After learning the last melody I needed, I make my way to the 3 statues and present them with my song, and they allow me to pass through the elevator. I walk in and head towards a bright flower field with a very familiar blade inside. Oh my gosh, she's back again. Lace is back, baby! This time she tries to fight me, but unfortunately for her, my need for amazing game progression outweighs her need to kill me, so I destroy her and literally leave her lifeless body laying here. Defeating her did send me back to the spiderweb land again, which I'm starting to see this place more than my own family, and meet with the floating orb one last time to consume it and collect my final silk upgrade. I continue onwards and discover a massive ball of silk, and inside lies the final boss of the game, sort of. But before I can go on to fight her, it's time to go back and collect everything I missed before. That includes the rest of the wishes from the wish boards or NPCs, collecting every crest I can, collecting the rest of my silk skills, and fighting the bosses I have missed up to this point. One of the bosses I missed was a rematch. A rematch that I was not expecting, but God, I couldn't have been more happy. She's back, baby! Moss Mommy! Woo! It was really good that I didn't overreact. I continued to do some of the wishes, one of which was finding Sherma hiding in a corner while I protected her. I hope everyone here knows I would die for this person. I have also been collecting fleas throughout this video, but I haven't been saying much about it because of the absurd amount of them I have to find and how boring it is to just walk around looking for a flea. I also collected the last cog heart piece from the last Simon Says game I needed to come across Sentiental. This boss, a future boss, but currently I just had to wait for the wish to face him. After waiting an actual hour for the wish, I'm finally able to fight that guy. The last piece I needed before fighting Mother Silk. This fight was beautiful, and everything I need for it to be. As I destroy her, I bind all her power and attach it to the citadel as I see the lifeless bodies of the guards who captured me in the beginning. Who's on top now, baby? Wow, the final boss has been beat. That game was fun. Surely I'm all done now. Oh, there's more time in this video. Oh, I still have to collect the rest of the fleas, items, and upgrades. Oh my god, there's an Act 3. After genuinely looking around for what felt like hours, I free the rest of the fleas and return them to the caravan, who has now moved since the beginning. So I am finally done with that achievement. Oh my goodness. I also go through and collect the rest of the items I needed. Next, I actually had to get sacrificed and cursed so I can unlock one of the secret endings. Getting cursed, I have to quickly go back and fight Mother Silk yet again, which this time was somewhat easier due to me knowing her moveset. Cool ending cutscene though. After receiving that ending for the achievement, I got healed in very, unconventional ways, and got the Witch Crest. Next, I redeemed the wish to get into Act 3. But first, I had to return to the caretaker who let me know he will set a trap for Mother Silk, so that meant I had to fight her yet again. This time, instead of binding her power, I shredded my guitar and seemingly a portal opened, and while we were getting sucked in, I thought it was raps for me, until Lace came back and pushed me away and sacrificed herself for me. Is it love? But something happened. Everything is black. Did I do that? Oops. It's okay. All I gotta do now is head back to the deep dock. So let me fast travel real quick. Who are you? I fought this weird looking worm thing and oh my god, my goat. Bell Beast ate him up, absolutely decimating him. Defeating that worm gave me the Beastling Call, which I can use at almost any time to fast travel to the last fast travel location I was at. I then make my way to the deep docks and head even further down and enter the abyss. I wandered this dark and desolate area until I came across another shrine and acquired my next silk skill, Silk Soar. You see, it lets me soar with silk. Using this, I escape the abyss and head back to the bone bottom, me, to talk to the snail shamans. They let me enter a deep trance to let me enter my memories. I enter the red memory and wander around and acquire the Ever Bloom, a fragile flower found in a distant memory. Using that, I can finally do it. Finish this game. But before that, there's just a few more things I need to do. I quickly collect all the items that you could get in Act 3. I also fought the rest of the bosses that were only in Act 3. After finally doing it, after tens of hours, I finally did it. I can use the Everbloom and jump into the void in the abyss and face the true final boss, Dark Lace. After a surprisingly easy fight, I defeat her and I did it. Oh my god, I did it. Wait, what's Steel Soul mode? So thank you guys very much for watching this video. This took so much time to make. The game was incredible, but it was so unbelievably difficult, so that's why it took a little bit of time to get this video out. However, I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and it truly would mean so much to me if you could just leave support on the video. If you guys want, you know, Steel Soul mode, and, you know, if you want Hollow Knight, I'm more than down to do them. It's just, you know, hey, click that subscribe button. That increases the chances of it coming out sooner. But yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I wanted to do post commentary for this just because there was well over 100 hours of recordings, and I don't see that being possible cutting it down with me like using like live commentary and like just showing my reactions and everything. So just so that this video wasn't 20 hours long, I decided to do it like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. See ya.